Hello yarn lovers! Today I'm going to show you how to crochet this beautiful beachy baby blanket and show you a tip so you'll have hardly any tails to weave in at the end. So for my blanket I used Paintbox Yarns Simply Aran in 4 different colours. I've used this wash teal, soft fudge, seafoam and the champagne white. You can use any Aran or worsted weight yarn for this project. You're also going to need both a 6 and a 7mm hook, some scissors and a darning needle. Now the blanket has been designed to fit lots of different sizes from car seat up until a twin bed, so I recommend getting the beautifully designed PDF pattern. It contains all the yarn quantities and the different size options and everything you need to make this beautiful blanket. I'll leave a link in the description. So I'm starting with the champagne white coloured yarn. I'm going to put a slip knot on my hook and we're starting with the larger hook, that's the 7mm. And for the size that I made, which is a good size baby blanket that will fit a cot, it's quite a large size for a baby blanket, you're going to chain 101. So if you would like to make a specific size, please check the written pattern. If you would like to make a custom size, you just need to chain a multiple of 3 plus 2 extra stitches. So I've got my starting chain and I'm now going to switch to the smaller hook, the 6mm. And we're going to turn our chain over and we're going to be working into the back bumps. So in the second chain from the hook, we're going to put a single crochet. And I'm going to go ahead and put a single crochet in each chain all the way across. So here's my foundation row of single crochet. Now for this pattern we won't be using any starting chains, so instead of chaining at the beginning and turning, we're just going to turn, and into this very first stitch we're going to work a stacked single crochet. So you're going to put your hook into the first stitch and work a single crochet, and then we're going to put another single crochet on top of this one. So we'll do this by putting our hook through the left leg of the stitch and working our single crochet. For the rest of the row we're going to be working in herringbone double crochet. So we'll yarn over, put our hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop. We're going to pull that loop through the first loop on our hook, yarn over and pull through 1 loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So this is a herringbone double crochet. So I'll show you one more time. Yarn over, hook goes into the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull that loop through the first loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and this gives us like a nice slanted stitch that you get with that herringbone pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and put a herringbone double crochet into each stitch, and I'm going to work all the way across until we get to the very last stitch. So I've worked all the way across with herringbone double crochet in each stitch. We've got 1 stitch left here at the end. And we're now going to work a half double crochet 2 together over the stitch we just worked in and that last stitch. So we'll yarn over, hook goes into the current stitch, the stitch we just worked into, pull up a loop, yarn over again, hook goes into that last stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all of those loops. And there we have our first row of the herringbone double crochet. Now this side is the right side of our work. So we're now going to turn, and again we're not doing a starting chain, we're going to simply start with a stacked stitch, a stacked single crochet in this first stitch. So we put a single crochet, then we insert our hook into the left leg and work our single crochet stitch, and that's just for that first stitch. And then we're going to continue with herringbone double crochet into each stitch. And we're going to work this all the way across. So you go ahead and finish off this row, and I'll meet you back when we're ready to start the next row, because this is where we're going to start changing colours for our striped colour sequence. So I'm almost finished the second row of our herringbone double crochet. So the foundation row doesn't count as part of our striped colour sequence, just the herringbone double crochet rows. So you'll start off with 2 rows in the champagne whites. We're then going to switch to the sea foam. Now I'm going to show you how you would traditionally change colour, and then I'm going to also show you my little trick so that you don't have to weave in any ends. So at the end of the row we're going to be working our half double crochet 2 together. So we'll yarn over, hook goes into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, hook goes into our last stitch, pull up a loop, and then we would yarn over and pull through all of those loops. And to change colour we would simply drop the old colour, lay the new colour over the hook and pull through all of those loops with that new colour, and then we're ready to start the next row with a new colour. You will have all of these tails to sew in at the end. So I'm going to show you a little trick of how I like to work stripy blankets. So what you're going to do is you're going to work that last stitch, so that's that half double crochet 2 together, with the old yarn, and what you want to do next is just elongate your loop slightly until you've got roughly an inch here. We're then going to take some scissors and we're going to cut the top of that loop, pull this out to get rid of this yarn. Now you don't need this colour, and you're just going to unpick that stitch. So you want to just pull it through, put your hook back into that live loop and just undo that last stitch. We're now going to tie a magic knot. So we're going to take the old yarn and we're going to take it over the new colour, underneath, and then just tie a knot. This end wants to roughly be about 1 inch. Tie that tight, and then we're going to take the other yarn and do exactly the same. Tie a knot around the old yarn, and we'll pull that tight too, and then we'll take each strand and pull them, and they will draw the knot together, and just give that a good tug to make sure it's secure, and then you can trim off these ends. And then when we go to work this final stitch again, which is our half double crochet 2 together, when we yarn over and draw through, it changes colour in exactly the right place. So then we are going to turn, and again this first stitch is going to be a stacked single crochet, so we're going to put single crochet into that first stitch, and then another one on top, and then we're going to continue with our herringbone double crochet in each stitch across. It's a very easy pattern to remember. Once you've worked up a few rows, you'll be able to start seeing that distinct herringbone pattern. And then again, once you get to the last stitch, you're going to work that half double crochet 2 together and then turn, and you're ready to start the next row. So the stitch pattern that I worked is starting with 2 rows in the white, then you'll work 6 rows in the sea foam, then back to 2 rows in the white, followed by 4 rows of soft fudge, 2 rows in the white, 6 rows in the wash teal, 2 rows of white, and then 2 rows of soft fudge, and then you go back to the beginning again and you just repeat that colour sequence. So you go ahead and finish your blanket. I'm just going to add a few more rows to my swatch, and then you can meet me back when I'm ready to show you how to do the border. So keep working in your colour sequence until your blanket measures approximately 48 inches. This is for the size that I made. If you want to make a different size, just keep going until you're approximately the size it says in the pattern, or the size that you would like. You need to make sure you end with 2 rows in the white. We're then ready to start our last row, so we'll chain 1 and turn. This chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch, and we're going to start with a single crochet in the first stitch, and I'm going to go ahead and put a single crochet into each stitch all the way across. So we finished up that row. We're now ready to start the border prep. So we don't fasten off here. Simply going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work around, and we're going to start working down the left side of our blanket. And we're going to loosely work slip stitches evenly down the side. You want approximately 3 slip stitches for every 2 rows. So you'll put 2 slip stitches in one row, and the following row will just have 1 slip stitch, 2 slip stitches in the next row, and the following row will just have the 1 slip stitch. So you're going to work evenly all the way down the side of your blanket. Try to keep the slip stitches fairly loose, because you are going to need to work into those. Once you've worked all the way down the left side, you're going to fasten off. You're then going to orientate your blanket so that the opposite side is facing you, and you're going to work a row of slip stitches up this side of your blanket in exactly the same way you did on the other side. So just pop a slip knot on your hook, and start working your slip stitches across. So once you've slip stitched all the way up this side of your blanket, we're not going to fasten off here. We're now ready to start working our edging. We're going to chain 1, this is for the corner, and we're going to put a single crochet in this first stitch. Now going to chain 6. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're now going to work a cluster stitch in the 4th chain from our hook. So we're going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this chain, going to yarn over, going to put our hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do this twice more. So that's 2 and 3. So that's a total of 3 double crochet stitches for our cluster. We're going to yarn over and pull through all of those loops. Then going to chain 3. That's 1, 2, 3. And we're going to work a cluster into this first chain. So just like we did the other cluster, yarn over, put your hook into that chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and we're going to do this twice more for a total of 3. Yarn over and pull through all of those loops. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch this to the bottom of the previous cluster. Now, so that you don't have a big gap here, I like to work through both loops of this when I slip stitch like so, and then pull this really tight, and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're now going to carry on working across the top of our blanket. So we're going to skip the next 2 stitches. So this is where the stitch that we worked into here. We're going to skip 1, 2, and in the following stitch, a single crochet. And there we've got our cute little pom-pom. So we're just going to repeat this across. So chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in the 4th chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to work our cluster stitch. So that's 3 partial double crochets. Then yarn over, pull through all of those loops, chain 3. And then we're going to do another cluster into the top of this cluster. That's 1, 2, 3, yarn over, pull through all of those loops, chain 1, then slip stitch to this bottom cluster. And again, I like to go through both of the loops of that stitch. Sometimes it helps if you just pull that stitch around a bit, and then you can see both of those loops, and it just keeps the stitch a little bit tighter. So then pull that tight, chain 3, skip 2 stitches across the top and into that next stitch, single crochet. And this creates your beautiful pom-pom border. So you're going to simply just repeat this all the way across to the next corner. So you go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back when we're ready to work down the side of our blanket. I've just worked my last pom-pom. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and in that last stitch I'm going to put a single crochet. We're now going to turn our work and be ready to work down the side of our blanket. We're going to chain 1 for the corner, and we're now going to single crochet into the slip stitches down this side. I'm just going to work into the back loop only. So a single crochet in the back loop of each slip stitch down the side of the blanket. And once you get to that last stitch, we're going to chain 1 to get around the corner, and then looking for the very first stitch on the bottom of our blanket. So we're going to put a single crochet in there, and then we're simply going to repeat our pom-pom edging across the bottom of our blanket. So you're simply going to work another row of pom-poms all the way across the bottom of your blanket. Once you get to this corner, you're going to chain 1 for the corner, and then start working into the back loops of these slip stitches up this side of your blanket. So a single crochet in each stitch all the way up to the top. We'll then chain 1 for this corner and then slip stitch into that first single crochet to join. And your finished blanket will look something like this. If you love making baby blankets, then why not check out our blanket playlist next? And if you're enjoying our content, then why not subscribe to our mailing list? You will stay up to date with all our new patterns and tutorials, along with other fun stuff like blog hops, freebies and discounts. Click the link at the end of the video. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye now.